Hello, this is Anastasia Elliot, and I'm here with Top Shelf Music Magazine. I am starting a new series to interview experts in the music industry on all fields with a focus on women and fascinating topics. I'm here today with two absolute legends and huge sources of personal inspiration. If you don't know them, I'm sure they will be big sources of inspiration for you too after this. Alicia Ballard is one of our guests. She is the VP and Executive Director of the Living Legacy Foundation. She's also the co-founder of Inherit the Music with Kings of Leon. She has a master's degree in clinical psychology, and she co-founded Equalize Her with the wonderful Linda Perry, who is our other guest. And Linda, to me, is the definition of someone who is fully living in her creative power. She was the lead singer of the Four Non Blondes with the hit song that you probably know called What's Up. Her songwriting and production has been absolutely instrumental in defining the sound of contemporary music. She's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. She's also a manager. She has a label and she develops artists, scores films. There is literally nothing that she can't do. And she also founded this organization called Equalize Her. I wanted to start by introducing myself. I'm an operatic pop rock artist, songwriter, producer, music video director, and your host today. I definitely want to start with talking about Equalize Her. I actually attended your launch show at South by Southwest, and I was wondering if you all could talk about what the initiative is and your mission behind it.
First of all, thank you, Anastasia, for having us on. And every time I hear Alicia's credentials or background, I'm always impressed. Everybody should know about her. She's an extremely genuine person that is concerned about the well-being of kids and people in general in the music business, because she really has a strong passion for helping, and especially with music, because that's just in her genes. Alicia, if she would have just, went a little bit the other left field, she would have been a star on stage herself. Which I got her on stage at our Troubadour show in October. In life, the universe puts people together that, at least my belief is that we are constantly meeting people that we are meant to collaborate and create creatively, and and come up with solving problems and finding solutions. And Alicia and I were brought together because we shared a same passion and emotional, I don't know what the word would be, but we just felt like, what the fuck is going on with, women in music right now? It's like, forget the just women in music in general, but just all things female related in the business. So we talked about it. We, put our stories together. We aligned perfectly. And then during dinner with Alicia and I think with Inga and Noah, this amazing guy, they came up with the name Equalize Her. And then we were born.
When Linda and I met, we definitely hit it off and had a connection of just, having like-minded values of just, helping others, and especially through the power of music. And so I think as we started talking, we met through a mutual friend, Rick Reese, who just thought you guys should meet. And I mean, it's kind of a good reminder in life when you have that feeling to like do it, make it happen, because he just thought there was something that could be special that we could do together. And so I think that was right. And I appreciate Rick doing that. But beyond that, I think when we started having conversations, Linda and I did, just about what we wanted to accomplish together, what we wanted to do, as I started hearing about Linda's amazing background in music and all the things she's done, being an artist, producing, all the things that she does still, one thing really stuck out to me, and we really started kind of going in that lane, was just the sometimes abuse of women in music, the lack of a voice for women in music in so many different areas, genres, all of that. So I think as we started having these conversations, it became very clear to both of us that that needed to be our focus. That was just something that needed to change. So
I mean, you definitely hear that women make a lot of less of the industry than men, but I found these statistics on your Instagram page absolutely staggering that songwriters make up 14.4% of the music industry, artists 23.3%, and producers only 3.9%. That is so sad and crazy.
Well, also too, just so you know, the numbers aren't 100% correct because the system is flawed. So
Yes.
like you can't go into Spotify or Apple and go, this is a female that produced this, female engineered, mixed, played guitar, like that, all that stuff is not available yet, you know. So it's like all that backstory about, like, you know, when you bought albums or CDs, all of that information was on there. We loved it.
Yes.
Liner notes. It's like you go back
Yeah.
there, they made them really clever, and you'd want to go and see who was part of the
right.
the album. And to me, it's so strange that that is not, you know, celebrated still. It's not, you know. And so there could be more women, we don't know, because we can't get the information out there. And that's why there's so many organizations right now trying to desperately set the systems up with the DSPs with the proper information, so you can log it in when you're ingesting a song or your album. Now all the information comes up. So we're still working on that stuff. And but more so, the other thing that's important is, you know, what we also discovered together that we were really concerned about. It's like, if you look behind me, you'll see some guitars, you'll see a drum, you'll see some amps. Not one woman designed an amp. Not one woman designed any of these guitars, the drum, nothing. The keyboard, nada. The plugins in Pro Tools, I think there's one, you know, by Manley, but not any women. Then when you go to like your Universal Audio, you know, plug-in batch where you're like going to use the 1176 or the LA2A or whatever, and then you go in there and you go load, and you can scroll down, and it's like Jack Joseph Puig setting for a kick, Chris Lord Alge, you know, they have their presets, right? These big dude producers have all their presets. There's not one female with the preset, you know, in these platforms. So in these plugins. So, you know, those are the things we're looking at too. The microphone, not one female designed a microphone, you know, so we're looking at all of it. How we can really bring awareness to that, and how we can help. I think because we're new, you know, we're batting things around. South by was our introduction to go, okay, you know what? Let's just go. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's put a fucking show together. We had 15 acts, all female, on that stage in 2 days. We had female production on stage, producers helping us with the show. The only thing we couldn't get was a female sound engineer, because we couldn't find one. You know, there was none in Austin that we could get.
And our team was fully female, and we put that together in what, Linda? It was like such a short time.
So quick.
So
but it was very successful.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you it's part of the problem too, that when you think of producer, engineer, you know, amp designer, I don't really think that most people, even females, vision of that is women. And so I think that's part of changing the thought of what that is defined as in the mainstream, because I think we still say things like female producer, female sound engineer, female this, because we have to kind of make that distinction.
So to bring more female into a boys club can create like, oh, we can't tell if Stan isn't going to fucking grope Anastasia while she's over here. You know, it brings more problems. Like I deal with that stuff right now with the project I'm working on, and I'm just like going, you guys are fucking morons. First of all, what fucking decade are you fucking living in? You fucking boy fucking bullshit, you know?
that it
It's
still
so
happens.
shocking.
I do love that EqualizeHer is out to support not only female artists, but bringing females into more of the behind the scenes roles that are very male dominant, because I think women bring a very special and different energy to the creative process and the business process. Like our brains are wired differently. Why is it that you feel there are so few females in the industry? Like, do you think that it's a matter of gatekeeping or just not having the role models to be able to like dream and be like, oh, I could be that? Like, what do you kind of think is the main reason why we're not seeing more women in positions of power?
I think it's just everything you just said. I think,
Yeah.
we've talked about it starts, like Linda said, I've always had a passion for music. When I was, 5, I was in my room with my boom box, hitting play and record, recording my favorite songs when they'd come on at noon. And I know this because I have recordings of it. My sister's younger than me, like 6 years younger than me, and she's a baby crying. So I was maybe 6, maybe
Hmm.
maybe 7. And so I feel like a kid like me, I grew up in Arkansas until I was 15. I didn't have role models around me. I didn't have opportunities for
Hmm.
after school programs that were like you could go jam in a studio, like Notes for Notes, or, some of these cool things that we're supporting and a part of. We didn't have that. So I, like Linda said, I feel like in a way, I probably missed my calling in a sense. Like I feel
Hmm.
like this is obviously a huge passion of mine, but I might have had a very different life had I had access to some of these programs. So I think it starts really young. I think it's giving these programs to kids. I think, like you said, it's changing culture. It's,
Hmm.
why is it? And that's what we're still trying to figure out. Why is it that girls drop off when they're in these programs, even? Why do they feel they have to be the pop star? They can't be the producer or the
Hmm.
engineer. Like what's happening? And so that's kind of what we're in the process of figuring out and working with some of our partners to kind of figure out what that looks like. But
Well, I also think
multifaceted.
it's, part of it is, let's just bring it back to the girl, in the world we live in, let's face it, women are very obsessive about the way they look,
Mhm.
being accepted, wanting to be sexy. I'm not saying everyone, but there's a
Of
huge
course.
chunk that's it, right? So who wants to be the fat white guy in the back of the scene behind that board? I don't want to be that
Hmm.
guy.
Yeah.
It's like, who's that? I don't want to, that's not sexy. So being a producer, engineer, mixer hasn't ever presented itself to
Mm.
be like a sexy, hey, come and look at this, and being here. Like, why be the pop star? Like, you want to be the pop star because you get all the attention. You get to wear the fancy clothes, you get to put on the makeup, you get all the attention, you get to go on tour, you get the fancy dancers, it's like a very glamorous lifestyle.
Hmm.
But being in a studio is not. It's not. You're in there like, I mean, there's days I'm in here, I get in here at 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I don't leave till 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's not glamorous at all. I'm beat. I'm tired. I'm figuring things out. Now, for me, I love that
Hmm.
because it's what I like. I don't want to be in the limelight. I had that opportunity. I didn't like it. So I
Hmm.
came behind the scenes because I find it more powerful where I am
Hmm.
now. But in history, we are not being shown the power of the producer, the mixer, or the engineer, because it doesn't read sexy time. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, yeah, I don't want to do that. Like stuck. And then women are different than men. Guys can like boy out, club it out, drink their whiskey, go outside, have a cigar for an hour and do no work at all,
Hmm.
and just dick around and be dudes talking about whatever. Women, that's not that, it's like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to go fucking sit in a room with a bunch of fucking dudes talking about, the chick they're dating, or sports, or how great the cigar fucking tastes. I don't want to deal with that. So what we do stuff like what you do. You go in, you isolate, and you produce, you write, you create.
Hmm.
Grimes isolates. She produces, she writes, she creates, she does her own thing. There's
Hmm.
so many women, Tinashe, that isolate, create, write, produce, all
Yes.
on their own.
Yes.
Because in today's time, we can just get on our computer, laptop, lay on the floor with a keyboard thing and just create music, and just be in your own little world. You don't have to be in a studio.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. I think the numbers are off right now because there's probably more females doing it than we realize, but not nearly as many as there should be.
Yeah.
But I think it's being able to show the female, the girls, the kids. That's why we say equalize your daughter day one. And is we want to show them that, oh yeah, this is actually powerful. You want to be in this position. You're the captain. You're the director. You have the ultimate power here, you know? And so that's what we're trying to figure out, is how we can do that and make these kids interested in being in a studio with a bunch of dickheads, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe eventually there won't be as many dickheads and there'll be like more balance. Because right now you got one girl that works in a studio with probably 20 guys.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
That one girl is usually told, you know, you'll never make it behind the console. Like you can answer the phones, you can, you know, a lot of times. Now that there are exceptions to that, but I think that's more the norm. There's something I think in a lot of men that there's a fear of powerful women. It kind of feels like maybe they're going to lose their power if they let the women into this club a little bit.
Yeah.
I also feel like the other piece of this that Linda and I talk some about is just too that there has to be a choice for artists to come in and want to and be able to work with a female. Because there's sometimes like safety issues for women artists, you know, so that's a whole nother issue that's not talked about enough. It's just like it's not a safe space for a girl to be working at 2 a.m. in a studio with the older man who may or may not be a creep. But also,
and then that is just a fact that has happened with the biggest producers out there, that women have to go through this all the time, you know, and especially if they're good looking and they want to be a pop star. It's like, suck my dick and I'll make you a star. That is the truth. That is the truth. That is a fact that is still happening nowadays. It's disgusting and it's sad, you know, but when I showed up on the scene as a producer and started working with all the girls, they were like, oh my God, it's like, thank God for you. Like, I never worked with a female before, and what a different energy. I don't feel threatened. I don't feel like I'm unsafe. Like, they felt protected and safe in the studio with me, which made me get more emotional performances, better songs, you know, because the guys just come in and they're like, okay, that's what you're going to hear. We're going to put this track together. Okay, you sing this, blah, blah, blah. Me, I'm like, let's talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
Let's write a song from scratch. I want to know what's going on with you.
Safety is absolutely the gateway to vulnerability and great art. So that's very important.
When it gets back to the girl, there's probably not as many producers and mixers and engineers out there. I think that we want to believe there are, but the truth is there probably is not, because they know it's going to be harder. Especially now, listen, there's a lot of producer, mixer, engineers that are doing their own stuff. But a female out there like Linda, there's not many people like Linda Perry, you know, that's actually writing and producing, mixing, engineering, playing the instruments, doing everything that somebody can come to, and I can cross all genres. You want country song? I fucking can do that. I can go from country, I can go to reggae, I can go wherever, because my creative is just open and I'm fearless in that way. And I'm also, you know, you can tell you can't fuck around with me. So I have a certain thing about me, a toughness. So I'm able to cross a lot of areas right now because of my strength and passion, and people just don't fuck with me, you know, like literally I stamp it down right away.
You've got your masculine energy, your masculine energy.
Listen, you know, like this project I'm working on, oh my God, I just ripped right into them. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you guys think you're talking to, you know, but no, you will not talk to me that way. You're not going to do this boys club bullshit on me. It's like, fucking grow up. And shame on you, you know, and they're just like, you know, and then they put me on an email and said, hey, we hired another music supervisor. This is Ed. And like, of course you guys did hire another guy, you know, and I have no shame. I could give a
Mhm.
fuck if they fire me. Fire me, you fucking assholes. I could give a flying fuck. But what I'm going to do while I'm here is I'm going to make sure they know the way they're operating their studios and their business is wrong. It's outdated, and they should be fucking ashamed that they're still acting the way they're acting in today's time. So
Mhm.
that's all we can do. Alicia and I, the most powerful thing we can do for anybody, and the most powerful thing you can do for anybody in general, is give them information.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Giving them information and awareness, bringing awareness to the information. And that's what we're focusing on.
But I also don't think it's just a boys club that keeps women out. I've definitely also struggled with other women in this business that have been completely unsupportive. And even in trying to book shows, like it's tough for me sometimes to book shows as an opener because females don't want to play shows with me. Do you experience that? And how can we encourage women in the mainstream to also support other women and not see it as competition because there's so few women?
I think that's a problem just in general in life, that women
Hmm.
feel competitive with one another. And I think because they feel, we've talked about this, Linda and I, like there's only a certain few spots. So we're all competing
Hmm.
for, like, if it's 2% of producers are female, well, okay, that's 2 out of 100. So there's not many spots.
Yes.
So like if I have to like be cutthroat with another female to get that spot, then I'm going
Hmm.
to. Where I think it's defeating. I think if we all join together, what a powerful force if all of the women in music come together, support each other, try their best to hire. And like Linda always says, it's true. I mean, you're not going to hire someone who sucks, who's shitty at
Hmm.
their job. Obviously, you want someone who's going to work hard and be good at what they do. But if you can choose a female to be in that role, then let's try to start changing these numbers. And not just because she's female, because she's good, but
Yeah.
also she's female.
Yeah,
So
I think that's the other thing too. It's like, very well said, Alicia. I think
Hmm.
that, I've been in many rooms where it's just the competitive nature of women because
Hmm.
of exactly what Alicia said.
Scarcity.
So it'd really be nice if, we could somehow change that language and let women know that the more supportive they are of women, the better things are going to be for them as well.
Hmm.
And, but I think too, it's like, it goes back to the other part. I don't know how many women want to be in these positions
Hmm.
because, being in the music business in general is hard.
Hmm.
It's really hard. It's a lot of work. And if you
Hmm.
don't have a big team around you, I'm not saying that that makes it easier, but when you got your team, it does make it easier. I know a lot of incredible artists from being in San Francisco to being here, and they would be like, I'm out. I'm like,
Hmm.
why? What? It's like, you know what? It's just not worth it to me. Like, I want to live my life. I don't want to spend time fighting to be who I want to be.
Yeah.
All the controlling, all that stuff, like you said, oh, I did an experiment with my label a long time ago, Interscope Records. And then I was on to this. I knew everything like quickly. I caught on very fast. They're like, oh, yeah, I don't know about this song. Maybe you should have David produce this one up, whatever. And I would go, oh, okay, great. So I produced the song myself. It was on my in-flight record. That's what it was. And then I produced the song myself. And then I said, oh, Bill produced it. And the A&R guy was like, this is awesome. This is amazing. This is going to be your first single
Oh
off
my
of the
goodness.
record. And I'm like, hey, Tom, just a little 411. I fucking produced that song. I wrote it by myself. Bill had nothing to do with it. I wrote it and I
Wow.
produced it on my own. And he was just like, oh, I go, so what are you trying to say, that because I'm a girl that I can't produce or write by
Hmm.
myself? And it was very interesting that this has been going on for obviously decades,
Hmm.
and this very reason, I mean, Carole King was told she was never going to be a successful artist because she was ugly.
Hmm.
yeah.
Carole King was told, you're not like the other girls. You're physically not that attractive. And that's what we need in this business, in order to make it as an artist.
Yeah.
Carole King was told something remotely close to that. And her tapestry is one of the greatest records of
Mhm.
all time. And every single song sounds like a greatest hits. Like it sounds like her debut album sounds like a fucking greatest hits album,
Yeah.
you know? And it's shocking that that continues to happen still today. You know, even like when we had Tinashe, she played at our show in October at the Troubadour. You know, we loved her because her story was she was in a girl band and they were just kept on trying to girlify them, really make them sexy, do this, wanted her to sing this. And she's like, fuck you, I'm not. They told her, well, if you leave this band, you're not going to amount to anything. You're not going to get anywhere. And she's like, well, then it will be my choice. You know, and she left the band and just started producing, writing, doing it all herself. And now she's climbing back up there, you know, and she's an amazing performer, great songwriter, and powerful, like doing it all herself and being a mentor.
Yeah.
So I think it's like we need more of that. So I know we already mentioned mentors, but that's why, again, we started Equalizer. So Alicia and I could be these powerful chicks that are being able to tell them really great stories that are important and help them navigate through this business because we want them here.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to help them be in it and stay in it and succeed in it.
I think that makes me sad. You think about Carole King, had she given up, we would be missing that music.
Yeah.
And how much music have we missed and are we missing when half the population is not really wanted or accepted in this world? You know, it's just, it's really sad to think about, you know, what
I love that. Can we get a quote of that? I love that whole thing that you just said. Because how many Carole Kings, how many, you know, Patti Smiths have we lost that we never even got to hear?
Or Linda Grace, for that matter. Got such a, like, Linda has such a presence and she's so strong and she doesn't give a shit. And that's why she is where she is, partly because obviously huge talent, but also like a lot of people would have given up, you know? And I think a lot of women just feel defeated, like Linda's saying, and this is too hard. I'm gonna go find something else to do where like it's not so hard. It's not such a struggle, you know?
Well, I think it's challenging not to feel defeated, especially with how social media has kind of changed things. I recently had a meeting with an A&R at a label and I played them the album and I showed them all my videos and I was talking about all these amazing things I've got going on. And they were like, wow, this is like one of the most prolific projects we've ever seen. And the art is amazing. What are your TikTok numbers? And I was just like, I've been working on making all of this stuff. Like, and they were like, yeah, we suggest that you know, build that TikTok following. And it's frustrating to be creating things on a large scale. And then all that matters at the end of the day is how much I prostituted myself out on TikTok and how much I came up with those like 3-second hooks. Like, you know, that's all that matters now. And even songwriter friends of mine are, you know, telling me that they're, you know, getting requests from labels to make, you know, almost 30-second songs and, you know, seeing maybe the song structures shifting to, you know, if we can't test this song out and it pop up on TikTok, we're not going to fully produce the song. My biggest inspirations in music are the rock stars, the Annie Lennoxes and Pat Benatars and Freddie Mercury's. And I cannot see one of those people slaving away to TikTok. And it really feels like right now the choice is to either have so much personal money that you can spend on hiring like these agencies that cost, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 a month plus your ad spends, or slave away on TikTok and, you know, hate your life. Do you believe that there is a place for women and artists that aren't, you know, gifted at being influencers or, you know, social media stars in the future of music?
Before TikTok and Instagram, it was American Idol. Before American Idol, it's like you have to be on American Idol. American Idol is how you're going to break. Before that, it was syncs were really popular. You got to have a sync. You got to have a sync. Before that, it was radio, you know, and before that, it was performing and doing live shows and getting on late night TV shows, you know, like there's always a wave of what is supposed to happen. And the thing about the numbers, you know, what really drives me crazy about these numbers is like if somebody has 20 million followers, it doesn't mean they're going to sell 20 million records, you know? First of all, if people are buying their numbers, that's just a given. Everybody's buying their numbers.
Yeah.
And then if you go on Spotify and you streamed 20 million times, I mean, is that like $1,200?
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's nothing. So these numbers are all false. It's like and this is the part that is the most funniest, is the labels are actually executing plans based on these false numbers,
Exactly.
and it's like, and they're actually, trying to break careers, or that, take that signing or not signing based on these false numbers. So listen, I don't know how long it's going to last, but I think people are obviously getting over it. There is the wave of talent right now that's showing up that is going to be saying fuck you to all that stuff. I'm not, no, you can keep your TikTok because it's cheesy and it's stupid, but there's going to be the people that want to do TikTok because it's easy and that's their talent. Listen, Britney Spears is not a great singer, but she has a talent. Her talent is that girl got up every day. She did her routines. She gets on her Twitter or Instagram or whatever at the time. She worked a different way. She worked a different talent. So there's people like that. They wake up, they do their fucking Instagram, they do their TikToks. They know exactly what to do, how long, the background, blah, 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 blah. And that's their talent. They're great at being a social media person. But those are in and out. There were so many artists that were signed during COVID that are no longer on the label today.
Well, it's incredible that a song that, an independent artist puts out that they get, 100,000 real streams is basically seen as a failure to industry people, because now like the low standard is, multi-million streams. And it takes a lot of money and advertising to get things like that.
I think we're in this game for a little bit more. I think we're here for a little bit more, but I do think that people, artists, and there's going to be another thing. There'll be something else that's going to take over TikTok, and then that's going to be whatever. And, there'll be holograms. There'll be people, like that's going to happen. The people are just going to be showing up and not even really be at the concerts anymore. They're just going to show up on a stage, and while they're in Paris, having dinner, their hologram, or they're going to be in the comfort of their own studio and hologramming a concert, things are going to get a lot crazier too. But what's the one thing that always succeeds? Real fucking songs, real talented people succeed, and they are the cockroaches. Talent, creativity, and the real are the cockroaches of this fucking business. It will always stay. It will last. It will be legacy artists. They will be all here 10, 20 years from now. And if they're not, their music will be. But I can't name that many artists right now that I'm going to go, oh yeah, 10 years from now, oh, people are going to still be listening to that person. Maybe not even 3 years from now.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because real artists that are not popping on TikTok are not getting that support, so you're not hearing their music?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because do you think Stevie Nicks is going to be, let's say Stevie Nicks is a real artist. She's got all these incredible tunes. She's a fucking artist. She's a poet. Do you think she's going to stop doing her poetry so she can go figure out TikTok, and because she feels like that's where she needs to be? No, she's going to go, fuck you. I'm going to play my music. I'm going to write what I want to write. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to go play shows. That's how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to survive, and I'm going to make it, because I don't really give a fuck. I just want to make music. That's one of the wonderful things about Kate Bush that I love. Kate Bush. Yes. She fucking put out a record, and Sade did this too. When she felt her record was done, the labels would be like, where's that record, Kate? We need that fucking record. She'd be on the height of her career in the, late 80s, 90s, whatever. And she would be all, the record is done when I say it's done. She was a perfectionist, and her records were flawless. Like, they're just, if you like the songs or not, didn't matter. But if you listen to her art, it's a fucking piece of art, her recordings. And Sade did the same thing. Fuck you. I'll give you an album when I feel it's time. That's it. But people are afraid. They're afraid of being dropped. They're afraid of being irrelevant. They're afraid of losing numbers. They're afraid of not being popular. They're afraid of not being number one. They're afraid of all that shit. And that's where artists are basing their decisions based on fear of losing something. And when we're there, you're not a legacy, babe. You're no legacy at all. You're a pussy.
Yeah, real art takes time, and to be able to support it in this day and age is, it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. I mean, this career demands all of you, which is, I
Agreed.
was going to ask you all, I mean, you both wear lots of hats. When you're an artist in this day and age, my days are spent learning how to run a great Facebook ad and how to playlist and how to book more shows and how to make ClickFunnels and how to monetize it all and how to, TikTok and still have time to make great art. How do you, when you're juggling so many jobs, manage to conserve your energy so that you can be optimized in all of the different skill sets and give your best self in all of those skill sets? Because I think burnout culture is very prevalent right now.
I mean, I think Linda's days are way crazier than mine. Linda is a badass. She just,
You're doing a lot too. You're doing a lot too.
I just want to say she does. I mean, she barely blinked an eye, and she had 2 entire films, right, come out that she scored.
Yeah.
And that's in her free time, right, for herself. And then she's working with all these bands. But I know, I feel like it's just, when you're passionate about something, you're willing to work your ass off for it. And I think, Linda's very passionate about what she does. So am I. And so I think, and Linda's an incredible mom. I have 2 girls. I think it's just I think it's tougher for females to do that, to be honest. When you're juggling a lot of those things, I think we're really hard on ourselves, and we're always saying, oh, I could have done that better. I could have been a better mom, a better wife, a better friend, a better, employee, a better, whatever your things are. And I think maybe just accepting that, we're all doing our best too. And like that comes back to encouraging each other. I mean, that's why when you ask me that question, I'm inclined to like build up Linda, because I see her like doing so much right now, and probably feeling overwhelmed by it a lot with a lot of stuff she's got going on. But it's like she keeps going. But that's the thing, we're women, we're tough, we're strong. So I would just say, like, when you have that passion, you kind of can't quit.
Yeah.
And props to you for all of your hard work. It sounds like it's been a tough road, but you're still in it. You're still doing it. So thank you for like changing those numbers. I mean, you are someone who is helping our cause for sure. And another thing I would say too is just even working together, like to go back to that. That's one thing Linda and I have kind of been trying to figure out how to piece together, because there's all these great organizations trying to help bring more women and girls into the music industry in all aspects. But we have to work together. We have to be a big team, and I think that's the thing that we're trying to do with a lot of the nonprofits is like, we're sort of like an umbrella. Like Linda says, we're a big hug. Like, we want to support all of the efforts and bring everyone together. And like, we all have the same end goal here, so what a powerhouse we can be if we all join together, and what a force of nature with all these strong, passionate women.
Passion isn't something you need to make time for. It just is. It's a part of who you are. So juggling, it's not really about juggling. It's more about like time management, like I'm really good at doing a lot of things at the same time, and I'm very focused. So I'm actually better under pressure and dealing with a lot more, because what I never want to be in when I'm in creative is in my head. So I'm always from my heart. So actually, the more I have going on, the more I'm in my heart, when it comes to creatives, because I'm not sitting there thinking about how to write a song. I'm just now in it, doing it, So I think that that's kind of important for, your viewers to understand. It's like, get rid of everything we've talked about. None of it matters if you don't have the song. Doesn't matter. You cannot have the talent, but you cannot not have the song. Whether you think the song is great or not, a hooky song is just a hooky song, whether it's talking about this or that or something incredibly important. It's getting that song, but the song has to just come. Now, I come from a place where I like to write from scratch. I'll pick up a guitar. If you came into my studio, we would jam, we would hang out. I'd understand who you are emotionally. We would write a song. It would be deep. It would be real. It'd be your favorite song. That's what's going to happen when you're with Linda. Now, when you go work with Dr. Luke, you're going to get some has-been songs that didn't
Mhm.
make it to somebody else, because these are songs that, oh yeah, well, Miley didn't want it, and so they're rejects. You're gonna reject songs that are gonna come in, and that are not catered for you, that are not personal. But I'm not saying that that's wrong,
Mhm.
but that's the other side. So you either go to the producers that give you the rejects and try to manipulate these songs and make them into songs that have a format, a tempo, whatever, pitch perfect, or you go to people like me, where it's like, you want the true experience? I'm going to give it to you. This
Yeah.
is what it's like to actually write a song from scratch, from your own unique perspective, catered just for you.
Yeah, I cannot imagine writing to a track. I've never done it, never want to do it.
Yeah.
So you guys recently had a big live show event at the Troubadour with Paris Jackson and Amy Mann and a bunch of other incredible artists. How did that event go? And do you see more live music events in your future?
I think it went really well. We were really excited. We had a lot of industry people there. We had like representation from some of the programming that we're supporting, some of those organizations. So that was amazing. Again, all female team. Yeah, I think it's just kind of the beginning of awareness. We have another event we're trying to plan. I think it's going to maybe be in June. That's more of a street fair type thing. Would you say like and more kid focused, family focused, where brands will be out. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have a stage so our kids can perform. I mean, to me, the Equalize Her event,
Mm-hmm.
Troubadour, my absolute favorite part is the girls opening for these big names at a
Yeah.
legendary stage. Like that's what melts my heart. A couple of the kids like Tish, it was her first show ever. I think first
Oh,
ever live show.
And she
Like
was amazing.
was
Yeah.
amazing. And so she was scared. Was talking to her before. She was nervous, but she did so great. And like to hand those experiences, like that's the dream. That's what gets these kids inspired to want to move forward. That's how we're changing our numbers, because you have an experience like that and you realize, oh, okay, this is why everybody works so hard to do this for a living, because
mm-hmm.
it's pretty fucking great. So to me,
Yeah.
that's my favorite part of those events. And I mean, I think we'll continue to do that, do a
Those
similar.
moments on stage always, to me, are the moments where it's like, yeah, this is why we do this. This is why we go to war every day, for this connection moment right now.
Well, that was my first and maybe only moment on stage, but I understand it.
Yes, you get hungry for it. What are some other resources and opportunities you all are providing for women, or hoping to provide with Equalize Her, and how can more women get involved?
Go to our website, see what we're supporting. I mean, I think we're linking there. I don't know if it's done yet, but like all of the organizations we support, because we're not really doing programming. We love doing the events, but there's She Is the Music, Women's Audio Mission, Notes for Note, Femme the Future. There's a lot of those organizations that are doing great things. So just kind of stepping out and spending
Mm-hmm.
time to be a part of the solution. I think giving time and energy, talking about these stats, like maybe just memorizing some of these stats and having conversations when you're around music people. Like, hey, did you know this? Because usually when I have that conversation with people in the music industry, a lot of them don't know. They have
Mm-hmm.
no idea like what a lack of women there is in most of these areas in music. So I
Yeah.
think
Also too, like, like we want to focus on, live events,
Mm-hmm.
because we feel that's, the most powerful place to be. It's like being able to, a lot of organizations do songwriting camps and blah, 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 but we don't want to do that. There's already people doing
Mm-hmm.
songwriting camps. We want to take those songs and put them out in the world. So, we're going to focus on events like what we did at South by, what we just did at the Troubadour. We're going to do again in Beverly Hills in July or June, wherever it is. We're going to make sure our kids are on the stage performing all day long, so they get that energy, that experience of what it's like to be on stage, to really master their craft, and showing other kids like, oh, I want to be on that stage too, and giving them inspiration and motivation to do so. And then the families, the parents, to give them the information that they can, here's giving them the opportunity to see the different organizations available so they can find which one feels good to them. We've talked about releasing music for artists, and just really focusing on live events and getting young kids on stage that don't have the experience and having them open up for Paris Jackson, like
Mhm.
stuff like that. It'll just get bigger and bigger. And at some point we'll do scholarships and, you know, record albums for people and give them those opportunities that you're talking about, where it costs money to make an album and do all the stuff. Well, we want to be able to support that, you know, and find our talent that, you know, Alicia and I can go, oh, I love that girl, love that girl, love that girl. Okay, let's make albums and be able to put it out there in the world and make sure that we build teams for them. So if we have a artist and they can write songs, but they want to partner, well, we partner up with women. Then we partner that team up with producers, you know, female producers and mixers and engineers, social media girls, managers, you know, marketing, all of their whole team becomes all female based. And that we have all those resources to get to what we would have to do eventually. And this is what we're building up to. If you want the big finale, the crescendo, it will be that Equalizer will be EqualizeHer will be a organization that's actually releasing music, that's actually succeeding, changing the numbers on a daily basis and really pumping it out there and giving these young females, no matter how old they are, if they're good, you're good, you're good. You're not good, you're not getting through the door. I don't give a shit if you're a female. Like my studio right now, for example, I can't for the life of me, I need an assistant. For the fucking life of me, I can't get anybody to send me a female assistant. I've called, you know, moving the needle. I've called She's the Music. I've called everybody. It's like, Linda Perry, am looking for a female assistant to work here at my studio. Why can't you guys find me fucking one? Isn't this what you fucking do?
Yeah.
Nobody. They sent me one, but she was underqualified because all she knew what to do is what to do in the box on Pro Tools. Didn't know how to move microphones around, set up anything, do patch bass. That is the other thing that's going on. Girls don't know a patch bass. They don't know how to do patch bass. They don't record real instruments. They're in the box, you know, going like this, using plugins and samples and this and that. So I found a lot of guys that want to work here for me, but I'm like, I'm doing it I've been doing it all by myself for 3-4 months now because I refuse to hire a guy. So I've been in the fucking studio working harder than I'm supposed to, doing all the grunt work. You know, I have sessions, I'm setting up everything because I refuse to hire a guy. I am going to wait until my girl shows up. And if I have to do all the work, I'm going to do all the work until the right girl walks through these doors. So that's what we're doing. We want to create opportunities and we want to make girls feel confident and secure and strong, empowerment, you know, and also teach them about being generous with their time, you know, confident enough that they are willing to maybe give a gig to someone else, some other girl that needs it. You know, like I got a job offer and I'm like, you know what? I love the job. Thank you. But now I'm just thinking, okay, hold on. I'm going to go find a girl that wants to take the job, you know, because it's like, I can do the job and I'll do it fast and I'll do it easy and I'll have a really great time, but I can get another job.
Yeah.
But how about give a girl a future little, you know, girl that wants to compose for film an opportunity. So I'm doing stuff like that. And I know Alicia's always doing shit like that too. Looking, how can we help? Because at the end of the day, that's all we want to do. How can we help the situation at hand? Because there is a problem here and we have to stop ignoring it.
And I think that's a TBD for us. We're figuring it out as we go, you know, it's just figuring out how do we take all of the resources we have and all the experiences Linda has and like package it all together and actually make change.
This is the question I love ending all my interviews with. If someone gave you a box of everything you had ever lost, what would you look for first?
Oh, I personally, my first thought, I'm not trying to be poetic.
No, I love the poetic ones.
I wouldn't look for anything because if it got lost, it was meant to be lost.
A lot of great creators give me that answer.
That's a good one. How do you top that? I think it's just, yeah, I don't feel like, there's been a lot of losses in my life in different ways, and like it's exactly where I should be. So yeah, I agree with Linda. I wouldn't look
Love
for it.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much for
Or
being
my
on
mind. I would
Yeah,
look-
right.
My youth.
My creators say that too.
Or
my
20.
mind. I would fucking look for my fucking mind, but then I don't know if I'd want it back, and like, whatever. But yeah, I've never been. I've had very few regrets, and I think that that's the beauty about life. It's like when we look at it as we're just in the moment living life, I'm constantly thanking the universe for all the wonderful gifts that I receive. And when something doesn't go right for me, I thank that too. I thank the universe for that. Thank you for what you needed to show me. Like I've been going through, shit right now where I'm just like constantly going, okay, I'm obviously having to go through this right now. So thank you for this experience. And I'm going to figure out what my lesson is right now. But it's heavy, it's dark, it's crazy, and I'm just watching it. I'm just sitting in it and going, okay, I'm going to find out what the universe is trying to show me. That's the only way I can move. Yes. Otherwise, we have no control over the things that we lose. We have no control over the people we lose or all of that. It's like I can only control my actions and my life. And then everything else is fucking winging it, right?
Yeah.
So, that's how I feel about that question. It opened up an emotional thing for me because I've been thinking about that, and not in those words of the way you asked the question, but in a very similar, emotion, like what would I do differently right now? And if I was being able to change some things, there's nothing I could have done differently, because the outcome is the outcome that I'm supposed to be dealing with.
Yes. I love that. I agree.
I think we learn so much from those tough times in our life too. It changes. I wouldn't be who I am today or be doing any of the things. I would say the only thing I would like to have back a little bit, because my girls are now 18 and 22. They kind of take for granted. Everyone says it goes fast, but I kind of like to rewind a little bit.
Oh, that's cute.
But they're coming home today for Thanksgiving.
Oh.
See them both tonight.
Well, I definitely agree with you all. Having an album that's based off my plane crash, I am like, those moments of darkness are the ones that create inspiration. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for your time.
I really appreciate this.
All right. Bye.